So I'm still reviewing this book because it's a treasure trove of very interesting games that I didn't know. The game I would like to show you today is from chapter 5, and once more the white player is Kolmov. We saw already Kolmov against Paul Keres, that was one of the top 10 chess players in the world, and Paul Keres was destroyed. Now it's the turn of David Bronstein. David Bronstein is, or at least he considers himself co-world champion, because he said Botvinnik didn't beat him in the world championship match. In fact, the result was 12-12. So let me, without further ado, start to show you this game. Kolmov was white, Bronstein was black. This was played in 1965, so Bronstein still at the top of his career, in Kiev, and it was the USSR championship. E4, C5, knight F3, knight F6, knight C3, D6, D4, C takes D4, knight takes D4, A6. The knight or variation has always been one of the sharpest weapons in the already very sharp Sicilian defense. Bishop G5, E6, F4, Bishop E7, Queen F3, Queen C7, Castle long side, so he's going in the mouth of the lion. Knight BD7, this is interesting. Generally you see the knight on C6, here on D7. Wow, that's kind of interesting. I didn't, doesn't make much sense, honestly. G4. Ratmir Kolmov was a very strong practical player, but certainly not known for his theoretical knowledge. It's difficult to say what made him choose such a principal variation on that day. B5, Bishop takes F6, G takes F6, and this is considered dubious. It seems that today the debate is about this move, G5, knight D7 again, and F5. So that's the difference. Okay. The test move was in fashion when this game was played, so in 1965, but is now rightly considered too risky for black. F5. The correct strategic concept. White has an extra light square piece, so he tries to gain control of the light squares. Knight e5, Queen H3, and castle. Wow, this is really crazy, right? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you castle, in fact, on something that is gonna be open? Castling. Oh, and here there is the comment of the author, so he was reading my mind. Castling kingside looked suicidal, but the alternatives were also unappealing. For example, it seems that they tried Bishop D7 and probably didn't work. Okay. Yeah, okay, but honestly, I mean, this really looks suicidal. I don't know. I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't play the entire variation if this is where I'm going to castle, because what is the meaning of castling on a side where your castle is already half dismantled? It doesn't make any sense, right? G5. This move is inferior, objectively speaking, but it resulted in a sparkling victory for white. A difficult task for the annotator. What symbol to append to this move? There were two much better alternatives. So it seems Queen H6 was better, and here he gives a line, and also Knight C E2 is another line, okay? But it seems in both cases, and one was played by Fischer, It seems, I don't know. Fischer played versus Black. Wow, in 1959. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Well, okay. So G5, B4, and before it's given a question mark because it seems it's not strong. It was better to take on G5. Let's see what's going on. But yeah, in fact, first you should probably try to defend yourself, right? So let's see. If there is a diagram, I want to see it. Yes, there is a diagram. I want to mouse before. Let's see then. Instead of before, F takes G5, F takes E6, F takes E6, Knight takes E6, Queen D7, Knight D5, Rook F3, Queen H6, Queen takes E6, Queen takes E6, check again, Bishop takes E6, Knight takes E7, and now there is King F7, and black is better. But let's notice that this is like 6 moves, kind of very complicated line, because there are surely some intermediate move that one should consider. I don't know, 3, 4, 2, 4, 5, and black is better. Well, I don't know, honestly. But yeah, probably is not losing either, so that's the interesting part, right? But if he's not losing, at least he's good. Because in this game, Bronstein lost. And Bronstein was a good calculator, so I don't know. Let me return back to the position. Okay, we were in this position, and black played b4 instead of taking here. Now, before, you know why it doesn't make much sense? Because this bishop is still here, and generally you need to have a rook on c8 in the Sicilian in order to have an attack. Here there are not enough pieces for the attack, and that's one thing that one should look for, right? G takes f6, bishop takes f6, obviously wants to open the lines, and notice chapter 5 is about pawn storm with opposite side castling. Rook g1, king h8, queen h6, and queen e7. Bronstein's train of thought was probably something like this. The white attack has stalled, now it's my turn. And now he gets a bad surprise. Okay, since you have a position from white side, I would advise you to, I don't know, try to pause the video and find out what would you play if you were white. Okay? The move is knight c6 double exclam, and here the comment is the first hammer blow. You certainly can't blame David Jovanovic. Such a move is easy to overlook in one's calculation. Let's see what's going on. Knight takes e6, e5. The point. First the black knight was lured away from e5, now the e4 square is freed up for the other steed. Tack and tack. And game over. Okay, let's see what he did. Bishop g5, obviously, no? And here there is some lines that show why nothing works, okay? So things are really going bad. Rook takes g5, f6, e takes d6, queen f7, rook g3, b takes c3, bishop c4, oh my, c takes b2, and now pause the video. What do? Do you take back? Obviously not, okay? You generally play this because you want to be protected by this, practically. It's a pawn that the enemy cannot take. The best protector there is. Knight d8, and here there is a diagram. White continue with rook d, g1, and after d7, so it seems that this is the funny thing of computers. It seems after this move, the computer announces mate in 10. But also the test move, this move doesn't spoil anything, it says. The rest is simple. Okay, let's see what happened. Rook a7, d7, rook takes d7, f takes e6, knight takes e6, bishop takes e6. Obviously, if it takes here, it's checkmate. Rook d1, rook takes d1, bishop takes e6, king take b2, and rook b8, king a1, bishop takes a2, rook g d3, queen e7, rook takes a2, queen e6, and rook b3. And here black resign. This is move 34. Okay, I mean, a beautiful game by Kolmov that got another one of the top players of that period and destroy them. Clearly there are a lot of interesting games in this book, and don't forget, please don't forget, that the last chapter is just made by exercises, okay? So you can do all these exercises after you see all these chapters, because you should have learned how to attack, and then with the exercises you actually see if you have learned or not. Okay, again, sometimes people don't buy old books, but I think they are really worth it because they are cheaper and they teach us as well. So enjoy this beautiful book.